So I went ahead and just parked because I actually have a little bit of extra time before work. I got about a half hour. So I figured, you know what? I would do another quick verbal journal session. Kind of record it and see how it goes. This one should probably sound a lot better since you don't have all the road noise and stuff to hear. So since I've been doing this 36 Days of Iron Pentacle challenge that I've set for myself, I've been thinking more and more about the points. And today is day one for the point of power. Power being the right hand, the right point of the pentacle, the upper right point. And I'm struggling to come up with an idea of how to engage with it daily. Pride was fairly simple. I was just posting pictures of myself to Instagram and journaling about, things I'm proud of with myself. For the point of self, which I just ended last week, I was doing a lot of introspection, a lot of journaling. I discovered many interesting things about myself. Whereas this week with power, I'm not 100% sure how to engage with it. My partner, Julie, she suggested I do a different spell every day, which I like that idea. And nothing major, not like a sigil every day. I would like to. I have an idea on how to have one big sigil experience, like on the 7th day, maybe, where leading up to that every day, I use one of my white candles and I put some blue Ferifyre energy into it every day with the concept that when I burn it on the 7th day, I'm going to solidify my own personal power and my own personal holy flame and my own energy, my own abilities. So every day leading up to it, I'm going to engage with the candle more and more, add more power to it, add more power to it, add more power to it, until finally I burn it through and create a sigil of my own personal power, draw it on there, dress the candle, and burn it in a ritual to release that energy into the universe and into myself. In that way, I'm using my own personal power to create my own personal power. Ever since I started studying witchcraft, I've begun to notice more and more how good I am and how powerful I truly am. How much I have in the way of being capable of doing all of this stuff. Of being capable of controlling my mind. Of controlling those negative thought spirals that have plagued me for decades. One of the most challenging experiences of my life was trying to learn how to escape the hell that was my mental state in my 20s. And I don't use that phrase lightly. It was hell. Most days, I was barely able to get out of bed. And when I did, I was able to... And when I did, I had to actually crawl up the stairs. Because the weight of my own mind pressed in on me so hard, I could barely function physically. The number of days that I sat there thinking about destroying myself. At that point was so frequent that it's all I ever thought about. Just throughout the day, I would get these horrific thoughts that would just come at me. Every day I would picture putting a gun in my mouth. Every day I would picture driving my car into another or off a cliff. These thoughts were so frequent and so consistent that it was my entire life. It's all I ever thought about. This suicidal ideation, as it's called. Every day, every hour, every minute, these thoughts would come up. And that lasted for nearly 10 full years. It had degraded my mental state to such a place that utilizing drugs, utilizing alcohol was the only way to cope, the only way to get through. I was such a mess. I couldn't work, and for 2 full years of that experience, I didn't work. I just lived on unemployment. I say lived. I existed on unemployment. Because every day was a struggle. Every day it took me so much energy to get up, to shower. Those of us who don't struggle with depression, who don't struggle with mental illness, will have a hard time understanding that, understanding what that's like. Because those of us without mental illness assume it's easy to get out of that state. Assume you're capable instantly of controlling your own mind. That is not something that comes naturally to those of us with mental illness. For nearly 10 years, I had to battle my own mind in order to crawl myself out of that wreckage. And it took me another probably 4 or 5 years to get to where I am today. To get to being able to meditate daily, to knowing the importance of therapy, to knowing the importance of medication when it's needed and when it's prescribed by a physician. Because guess what, man? It is a chemical imbalance. It is something that you cannot just will yourself out of always. And some people it is. And you know what? Fantastic. I really hope that those people are listening as well. And know that they're valid. Not using medication is valid for some people. Using medication is valid for some people. It was valid for me. Without medication, I would never have been able to escape that. Without therapy, I would never have been able to escape that. Without my own personal power, I would never have been able to escape that. Because it was a single thought that got me through that excruciating, horrific, demoralizing, and crushing experience that was those 10 years. It was a single thought that got me through every day and every moment. That thought was just, but what about tomorrow? Tomorrow is a better day. Without that thought of curiosity, I'm not sure where I'd be right now. My intense curiosity for the future, my intense curiosity for reality saved me. Literally saved my life. My own personal power stems drastically from my sense of curiosity. That was the hardest thing I've ever done, was get out of that. It was the greatest thing I've ever done. Because it was my own willpower that got me through it. It was my own willpower that got me to go talk to someone, to begin writing this stuff down. When I started writing it down, it was madness. It was pure insanity. I literally wrote a book called Murmurings of the Delusional, and it was just the insane gibberish of an unhinged mind. Because that's what it was. And that's what I was experiencing. And that's what I needed to write. I needed to get that out of my head. Because it was destroying me. It was eating me away inside. I was so crushed inside. And that's how I escaped. Utilizing my own personal power to know when I needed help. To know when I was able to take over on my own again. Because it took years of therapy. It took years of medication. It took years of acknowledging this within myself and realizing that I can't do this on my own. That in and of itself is a form of power. It's crazy how I don't feel pride about that. I just feel so grateful to myself. I feel so grateful to my past. I feel so grateful to who I was. Because now I'm so much more than that. I'm so much better. Because I was fucking determined to work myself through that. And to get out of that state because it was going to destroy me. That was my Phoenix song. Those almost 10 years. I'm going to just say 8 years because that's kind of what it feels like. It was probably right. Those 8 years were the ashes that I rose up again from. To become something so much more, so much better, so much different, so much more powerful. So much more capable. I don't struggle with the point of power on the Iron Pentacle that much. Not now. Not after that. I can handle anything. I can handle anything. And it got me out of that. In that sense, I am stronger than anything the world can throw at me because my own mind already did it tenfold. I am rock solid. There's a lot left to handle. I know. This is just the confidence of someone in their early 30s. Because I know how much more life is going to be able to throw at me. But ooh, the toolkit I have now. My meditation, my mental health, my connection to the divine. All of this is something so much more than I ever would have thought possible. Thank you for listening. I guess I have to go to work now. We'll make it through this together.